Ready, aim, fire. Welcome to Live with Sensei. I'm your host, Jay Haynes, for the Film Sensei YouTube channel. In this first episode of Season 2, I am hosting a roundtable discussion with a group of aspiring young filmmakers. I would like to give a few shout-outs, so please leave a chat or a comment in the chat room so that I can recognize who's in the house. Before we begin, I do want to remind everyone about my new Udemy class, the Absolute Beginner's Course on Film Express. All of the information, as well as the very best price to purchase this course, is on my website, which is jhaynes.com. jhaynes.com. There's a link in the description of this video for those of you that are watching after the fact, and I will be posting a link in the chat room right now for everyone who is watching live. And let's jump right into the topic of our show. I am delighted to welcome my round table of guests, and I'm going to bring them in here one at a time. And I would first like to introduce from Film Empire, Jamie. Welcome, Jamie.
Hi there, Jay. Long time no see.
Oh, I know it. It's a pleasure. Somebody was asking about you in one of my previous live streams and said, "Where's Jamie been?" I said, "He's busy." But hey, now you're here, and we're delighted to have you. I really appreciate it. Next, I would like to bring from Triforce FX, Eli. Eli, welcome.
Hey there. This is my first time on in a while, but I'm happy to be here.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Also, I would like to introduce from, here he is, Syed. Whoop. Oh, Syed just kicked out. Oh, no. He's been having some connectivity issues, so we may have some things on him there. Let me introduce also from FX Home, Javert. Javert Valbar is with us as well.
Hey, Jay. Thanks for having me, and looking forward to seeing what everyone can talk about today.
Thank you. And I would like to also add in Syed Hossein. And
There
Syed
you go.
is from
Africa,
and it is almost midnight there. And he's
precisely Mauritius.
Mauritius? Is that how it's pronounced?
Mauritius Island.
Is that
Mauritius.
Is that off of Tanzania? Is that near Tanzania?
No, it's near Madagascar.
Oh, Madagascar. Okay.
Yeah,
Very
Madagascar.
good. Very good. Well, it is a pleasure to have everyone.
Pleasure.
And thank you all for being here. I want to recognize a few people here in the live stream. Let me see. Bazio, happy holidays to you, Bazio. Great. Glad to see you, and I'm glad you're here. And also 4K Productions. Terry, it's great to have you. Jamie, you've been unusually quiet lately.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I have an explanation for that. I do. I've been very busy with work with other productions, theater productions, stuff like that. I am working on a new video project. I don't know when I will start on actual production. I've been very busy with pre-production, with getting a team together, writing, getting locations and that kind of stuff. So I am working on something, and I hope to bring that out either beginning or halfway next year. So there's something to hold on to.
Wonderful, wonderful. I had the opportunity, the honor of being in one of your short films myself.
That is true.
Remember, we filmed it long distance, right?
Yeah.
I filmed my part at my own kitchen table, and then I sent it to you, and you cut it into the film, and it looked really cool. It was a great, fun time. That was a pleasure. Let's see. Ivan's in the house. 4-H. I am not 4-H. He's actually Ivan. Ivy. It's a pleasure to have you, sir. And Tony with After Things. Thank you for being here. It's great to have you. Hello, Bazio. Good to have you. If you have any questions for our aspiring young filmmaker group here, please post them in the chat. I have a question that I would like to start first, though, and that is, where do you guys, and this is a general question for everybody, where do you see yourself in the future? 1 year, 5 years, 10 years down the road from now?
That is a great question.
Who wants to answer it first?
I'll go first if no one wants to. That's a very good question. In 1 year, I'm probably still in school by then. The the end of the secondary education here in the Netherlands. I am actually working together with a local news agency, trying to get some work there on cameras, working on editing, doing some of my own video projects. So in the near future, I still see myself doing that. If I look further into the distance, I would probably focus more on creating stories, whether that be on video, working on theater projects in tech there. So it's hard to tell, but I will definitely keep on creating content, whether that be video or otherwise. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Jamie. Anybody else?
I'll start. So for me, it's gonna be in mostly 5 years because I'm still in school, and I'm very passionate about filmmaking. So I know I will not be that far, but I see myself as a cameraman and video editor frequently because it is my best spot, and I think it's gonna be that for now because I'm not really sure about my future right now because of my parents also. But I hope for the future that I can make some good works because for now I've been making short videos of 6 to 10 seconds visual effects.
Right.
Uh, and I was planning to make a short film this month, the month of November, but unfortunately, because of time, I didn't do it. I just started yet.
Join the club.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. Trust me.
That's exactly right. I think that maybe those, less than 10-second videos are the most fun to make because,
Yes, very good.
you like with Production Crate, they have their
Yes,
10-second video challenge. Those are so much fun to make because you can really,
yeah.
film it fairly quickly and then spend your time on it and come up with something that you
Mhm.
feel is pretty good,
No,
and it's
yes.
easy, it's easy.
Well,
And
before
straight
I
practice.
upgraded my PC, I used to edit on my laptop with a Core i3. I remember a video I made for I think 5 seconds took me more than a week.
Yeah.
Took me more than
That's
a week.
true. Yeah, you have to cut a lot. If you have a shorter video,
Yes,
you end up cutting a lot more and
a lot
choosing
more.
what you want to keep.
That's
That is
true.
very difficult, cutting down, having a rough cut
Yes,
and then actually having to take out some of your favorite parts because they don't add to the story. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. It breaks your heart, really.
definitely.
It's so
Yeah,
hard.
it
It's like,
does.
oh, I really like that part. Anybody else? Eli, Jaber?
I'll go.
Okay.
Um, I guess right now, filmmaking is still a lot more of a hobby for me. But it's something that I still keep on wanting to do and pursue and all that. I'm actually going to school right now for IT, so that's exciting. But in the background, I'm also doing the film thing. Just it's hard, trying to find people to make films with, but you know
Mm,
it's
Mm.
always fun.
that's
And
true.
I have a new film coming out, hopefully in the near future, which I'm excited to show everybody.
That will be wonderful. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, I'll
Can't
be
wait.
waiting
Can't
for
wait
it.
to see it.
Yeah.
Javer, you want to add anything to that? You still going to be working at FX Home?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, right now, for those who don't know, I work at FX Home and I'm not in school. So I graduated 2 years ago.
Mhm.
In terms of the future, I'm exactly where I want to be right now. I've been working at FX Home for a year and 5 months. So just continue doing that. Continue making visual effects using HitFilm. Continue doing workshops for students, and just keep working at FX Home right now is the plan.
Those workshops look like they were a blast.
They're fun. Yeah, this was the second year doing it. The first time I was super nervous. This was last year. but the second year it got a lot easier. But yeah, it's great to see the kids pick up hit film by the end of the day.
You call them kids? Are they high schoolers or college or university level?
They are here. It's called college, but they're like 16, 17. So they're not kids. They're
right. Yeah.
Well, 16 is still a kid. You know, Javier, you're a kid to me. You're all kids to me. Come on. That's what happens. The older you get, the more kids are. You know.
I will always be a kid in the eyes of Jay.
Yeah, you don't. That's exactly right. All right, Dafter Things. Tony has a question. What would be your dream career? What would be your dream career?
That is nice. That's a really good question.
Did I expect that?
Yeah. Well, that probably depends on what I will do in the future for education after secondary education. So the secondary education that I'm doing right now is until 18 years old. And after that, I can go into university, do a bachelor and a master's degree there. Currently, I'm looking into something that's called industrial design. It's product design, working on user experience, that kind of stuff. That's something I'm very interested in. So I hope to be working in a field like that in the future. And on the side, I would, of course, still love to work on video, photography, theater, that kind of stuff. That's still very much something I enjoy doing. But yeah, working in industrial design would be my dream career. Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Anybody else?
So for me, my dream career is I'm not very stable on it. I've got some plans from when I was a kid, but now my path is getting clearer. I started in photograph last year, and for me, my dream career is being a filmmaker, like the title. But for the future, I don't really know about it. I'm planning to do multimedia and graphic design in university. I'm still in college. It will be my last year, next year. And I hope that I can fulfill my real dream of becoming a good filmmaker. But I'm mostly for now editing videos. So
very cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either one of you guys?
So
go ahead.
I mean, I think for me, the dream would be just like directing cool stuff like, you know, Star Wars, Marvel movies, stuff like that.
Yeah, of course. Who wouldn't want to do that?
It feels like the easy way out.
Except for Mike Miller. He doesn't even want to do a lightsaber FX shot. What's wrong with that guy?
Come on. Something sentimental going on there.
Yeah. Had to throw him out of the stream after he said that. No, he actually picked it up. Javier, what's your dream career?
I'm doing it right now.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that answer has been the same for probably the last 4 years, is to work at FX Home or do something with hit film. At the moment, I don't really have an aspiration to do actual visual effects. Like, it would be cool to work on Star Wars or some big movie or something like that, but right now I really just like what I'm doing. I really like hit film, and I really like working with all the people at FX Home. So I'm doing it, which is great.
Yeah. That's what I used to say.
Job.
Yeah, I used to say that when I was teaching karate. You know, this is the dream. You know, I mean, somebody's got to do it. You know, it beats working for a living. You know, it's so much fun. You know, and it really was. You know, but that part of my life is done, and now I'm moving on to other things. So I'm delighted to say. I'm really happy to say. Let me see. We got you know, the Ray says the short films are the fun ones to make, right? The same thing true with writing fiction, right? You know, time is the problem, right? You know, and that kind of stuff. Any other, Javier, living the dream. All right, I have another question for you guys. What do you think are your biggest obstacles to getting from where you are now to where you want to be in 1 year, you know, 5 years, 10 years from now?
Ooh, now we're going deep. We're going deep into the discussion.
All right, you get to start.
Yeah. Okay. I get pushed into the deep. My biggest obstacle for getting where I want to be. I enjoy doing a lot of stuff, and that sounds like a great thing, and it is a great thing. But when I want to do a lot of things at the same time, a lot of hobbies and interests, you sort of get lost in what you have as a priority. I'm working on a project right now, and I'm trying to do that on the side, keeping on working on getting something out of the door. Um, but I'm working. I have a job that I work at. I have other projects that I am working on, school, that kind of stuff. So it is keeping focus and having a clear vision of this is where I want to go and this is where I want to be and this is what I have to do to actually get there. Yeah.
Right. I'm with you. Anybody else?
For me, it's mostly a parent. Having problem with my parents. One thing, they are old and are planning for me to work in office, but for me, it's not my plate, you know. And the second is the very big obstacle for me is time. For me, time is very limited, and because I'm still in school also, but every time in my free time, I have to work with my father, you know, some work at home, and it sometimes uh, don't let me be free for some minutes just to think about something I want to do, like a small story, like some editing. For me, it's time and my and parental issues for just for now.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Eli, how about you?
Um, I think for me, one of the biggest things, at least when it comes to filmmaking, is probably I have a ton of ambition, but I also am a bit of a perfectionist. And so
Right.
when those two things combined together, it really, it really kind of stresses me out, and it makes it difficult to move on at some points, especially, when you don't have all the shots you quite need, or you don't like the way a particular thing turned out. um, it can make it hard to go on, but I think just putting out the best you can really helps with that.
Sure. Sure. And Javert, it's easier for you because you're actually working at it for a living. So that's really nice, right? The rest, I think everybody else here is just doing this more as a hobby. And so what
Definitely.
is
Yeah.
your biggest obstacle?
Yeah, it's kind of similar to what Eli said. It's not so much an obstacle for me, but I find that it's something that is increasingly happening over the years is holding myself to my own standard, really. So when I'm working on the visual effects for hit film or for Star Wars or whatever, I know what would be the easy way to do an effect, and I know what would be the quickest way to do it. And with business stuff and with time, we have to get this out by a certain date. So technically I should be doing the quick way, but I know that I won't be happy with the shot if I do that. I know that there is a way I can do it where it takes a bit more time, but it'll look better in my eyes. So trying to find that balance between getting it out there quickly and actually being happy with the shot is something that I'm encountering more.
Yeah.
All right, Vazio has a good question. When did you realize that this was the right way to go for you?
Ooh. Well, working with video and working with a camera started out when I actually borrowed the old camera of my parents. It was this really tiny Sony camera that had, I think it was like a 512 megabyte special card that went in there. It wasn't even an SD card, and it could hold 3 minutes of video. And being able to capture, like, as a kid, a small kid, being able to capture a video and to be able to portray something and show it to other people was really interesting to me. And the first thing I created was with a couple of friends. I believe it was like 15 minutes, ridiculously long, not edited down at all. Visual effects, nah. The sound effects, no, of course not. It was Windows Movie Maker and 3 minutes of video at a time. And seeing a story come together on screen is, especially as a kid, is something surreal. you have an idea, you're creating it, and then you're able to show it. So that sensation and that experience was when I realized that, oh, I should do more with this.
Sure. Yeah. Anybody else?
For me, it goes 3 years back when I started editing videos on my phone. There was an application, I think, a Kind Monster, if it's pronounced like that. And then when I got my laptop a year later, as curiosity, I searched for free editing software. Because you're young, you don't want to spend money on anything.
That's how it
I'm
starts.
old and I don't want to spend
That's
money
how
on
they get
anything.
you.
Yeah, that's right.
I searched.
Oh, he left us. I'm sure
no,
he'll be back.
I really wanted to hear the end of that. Oh no.
He'll be back. Don't worry, he'll be back.
He was in the middle of something.
There he
Sorry,
is. Go ahead. Keep going.
Sorry.
There he is.
So
Yeah.
at first, I downloaded Filmora, did a very long video to see the final result with a big watermark on it. I
Oh no.
justified my search to video editing software without watermark.
Yeah.
Then I ran into Hitfilm Express, and I was very satisfied with it. And then I learned you can do compositing and editing at the same time. So search for tutorials, and got many cool effects you can use in it. So started that way. I started making short videos to edit them in Hitfilm, and that for me it's like it's like an easy work for me. It's not like any other things I do. It's very easy for me. It's like the right job I was meant to do. Editing
great.
videos.
That's awesome. That's pretty cool. And I'm glad that Hitfilm Express was everything you'd hoped it would be.
Yes, I'm very glad I ran into this app, into this software.
Yeah, me too. Anybody else?
So I guess for me, I started making videos when I was probably 13 or 14, which was a while ago. Anyway, I really just enjoyed, working with everyone. I made a lot of videos with like my brothers and a few friends of mine, and we just kept on, we made one video and then it was like, hey, that was fun. We posted it to YouTube, got a few views, and it was just like, hey, this is exciting. Let's try it again and again and again. And eventually we kind of created our own little thing. If you actually go back to my YouTube channel, you can see a bunch of my early stuff. But don't do that.
Don't do that. That's we would all say that. Javert, would you say that too?
Yeah, no, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Oh yeah. But yeah, no, it was just so much fun to be able to work with people and make a project and, have something that, a lot of people like art or drawing or, other stuff, making music. For me, video was a way for me to express myself. And so that's why I kept with it, and that's why I still keep with it.
Yeah, that's great. Javert, how about you? You started when you were probably around that same age, I would think.
Yeah, 12, 13, 14. For me, it was because I was interested in making lightsabers and green screen, which can only be done on video. Well, they could be done on pictures, but I wanted them to move. So for me, video was like the only way I could do those effects, and it was just the effects that I was interested in. So that was the medium I had to go with.
Yep.
And
Yeah. And, Mike and I and Frank and Greg talked after the show about what Terry's talking about here. And that is, my gosh, if I had this when I was 13, it would have been amazing, but we just didn't have it, back then. I had a little regular 8mm video camera, and I was doing, and then I would move the clay, and it was little claymations and things like that. And that's all I had, We'd take it down to Kmart and wait 2 weeks, and, and then it'd come back and you'd watch it and go, well, I totally forgot to take the lens cap off there, that kind of stuff,
It happened.
And now it's
still
like,
happens.
oh my gosh. So yeah, but you know right away that you did it. You know, you don't
that is true. Sometimes I'm like, oh, why don't I see anything on the monitor? Oh wait, there is a lens cap on there.
That's right. So,
but it I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
no,
Thank you. No, it's amazing to see how far video editing software remembering on Windows Movie Maker on Windows XP, where you only had the title cards with the dark background.
Yeah.
It was amazing. After
and I don't know about you guys, but you're cutting out a little bit on me there. Is everybody hearing you?
Yeah. I can still hear you. I cut out there once. Yeah.
You did.
No, but
all right. We're down to our last 4.5 minutes. So we'll make this one really fast.
Let's do this.
You got to ask this one quick. Answer this one quick. What's the biggest production nightmare you have encountered on a project?
Ooh.
Okay. Saying yes to something along the lines of, can you fix this in post? And then realizing that, oh, this is a ghost effect, which ended up being 400 frames of manually rotoscoping out a person. 400 frames of manual rotoscoping without a drawing tablet, just with a mouse, is horror. That is a nightmare.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That's terrible. All right, I'll buy that. Anybody else?
Yeah.
I ran through the same problem with Film Empire. Did a project, tried to do masking try to make a blast, and then the effects behind my hand. So how to mask my hand, the 5 fingers. I did it. I was halfway, and I don't know how. There was another mask point in there because of my mouse, I think. And now every time I go through the frame, it's still there. I don't.
Oh no!
Yep.
And it happened to me to really go to the start and then one by one dress that only masking to simply think that I can delete it right there. I was able to delete it.
Oh, that's terrible.
It happened to me at least 2 times.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yes.
man, twice. Not once, twice. Oh man. All right,
and then every time I'm having this problem, I just delete it.
What was your worst nightmare?
I've been pretty lucky. I can't think of any nightmares. Probably the closest thing would be when we had to add reshoots to Renegade, which was the sort of action thing that we did with Ollie a couple months ago. It was just we had to fill a few scenes to really make the story make sense. So we just had to make sure the lighting was right, get him in the costume again, go somewhere. We didn't go back to the location. We went to the top of a parking garage. But yeah, that ended up working quite well, I think. So that was probably the closest thing to a nightmare that we've had, but it wasn't that big a deal.
That's not a nightmare.
No.
Eli left. Oh, Eli, there you are. What?
Oh, yeah.
How about you?
I think for me, it's actually there's been a few, but I guess there's one that I'm going through actually right now. So we did like a 1-day shoot for like a pretty decently sized short. It's gonna be probably about 10 minutes or so, and we only had 1 day to do it. Most of the people that were in the video live like thousands of miles away from each other, and so now there's a few scenes that just don't quite have enough there to really make sense of it. So I'm having to figure out how I can cut it and make it make more sense. And put it all back together in a somewhat cohesive way. So that's a bit of a pain, but
right.
It's a fun challenge.
Right. Okay, I have a special guest who has just arrived here in my green room, and I would like to bring him in. Mystery 1307. How are you?
Hey there.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, it's great to see you.
Yeah. That moment when you set 3 alarms and somehow you don't wake up.
It happens. It happens.
Yeah, it does. It does. Well, I'm glad you're here. We were just talking about, things like what kinds of things are you, where do you see yourself in the future? What kinds of obstacles are you going to have to overcome to make that happen? And when's the first time you ever thought hey, maybe I want to be a filmmaker, and make movies? And what's the worst possible thing that's ever happened to you while trying to make a film of some sort? What do you think? Can you answer one of those?
Honestly, this year I became a big Production Crate fan, and that's honestly where I see myself, because it seems like a fun place to work at, and I respect what they're doing.
Yeah, those guys are amazing.
Yeah.
In fact, I have my special announcement is going to be that my next Live with Sensei show will be on a special date and time. It will be this Thursday, which is December 12th at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. And my special guests will actually be Adrian Jensen and Chris Kelly from ProductionCrate.com. And so this Thursday, December 12th, we will be making it awesome in this live stream. And I am just delighted to let everybody know that those guys will be. I'm a member of a pro member of Production Crate, and what they're doing is fabulous. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah, it is.
I just barely started using some of the Production Crate stuff, and it's amazing. Even their free stuff, it's just awesome, and I love it so much.
Yeah, it's well worth the pro membership. But even if you don't have the pro membership, it's going to be.
I don't have the pro membership, but there are some amazing assets in there that I have used on stuff that has been shown on bigger screens than my own computer. So it's amazing what they have there. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We used to do dojo, movies, and we would rent a theater and show it in the theater. Even on a theater screen, it still looks amazing. I mean, it really does. So that's very exciting. And let me ask you one more. I'll ask you all one more question, because we're a little bit over time. And listen, I don't want to sway anybody. Okay.
Subtle details. Subtle details.
Pardon me there. Here's the question. All right. Answer.
So okay. Believe it or not, I have watched 0 of the Star Trek movies and exactly 1 of the original Star Wars. So I can say Star Wars or Star Trek, but because I've only seen 1 of the Star Wars movies, I have to go with them.
All right. I'm glad you're still with us. That's great. And you didn't accidentally get knocked out of the stream. All right.
Oh no, you would kick me immediately.
Oh, would I do that? No. All right, here we go.
Oh man.
No pressure.
Oh boy. I love all of these properties. Like, it is just crazy. I can't even. It's so hard, because I think a lot of the things that I love, a lot of the reasons even why I got into filmmaking was because of Star Wars. But I've also had a huge love for Star Trek and their stuff. You
can't do that. You got to answer the question now. Come on, it's one or the other.
Don't give him hope.
I will say, and this might partially have to do with, the fact that there's just simply more Star Trek content, with, almost with a ton of shows and a ton of movies. I've definitely put a lot more time into Star Trek, into watching it and
me too.
Stuff.
Me too.
So,
me too.
I'll probably go with Star Trek, but I really do love Star Wars as well.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Syed?
There's no debate. My first visual effect was based on Star Wars, the lightsaber effect.
Uh-huh.
But
Okay.
on the storyline, I really prefer Star Trek. It's a real debate for me, but Star Wars the way.
Star Wars.
Star
Okay.
Wars.
All right. On the spot. Here we go. Mystery.
Well, I don't know. Like, my first VFX was Star Wars, but that's honestly because I just was discovering everything in hit film software. But since I've really never said anything Star Trek, I'm gonna say Star Wars.
Okay. All right. I'll take that as a Star Wars then. Star Wars is it. Okay. And here we go. Dum dum dum.
Star Wars for me.
Yes!
But I do really like the 2009 and 2013 movies, which are, I know, kind of divide the original Star Trek fans. But those are two, I really like those movies. But Star Wars is definitely something I've been watching for a while.
Great. Oh, fantastic. All right. Well, that's it. That sounds like, you know, I'm not gonna say who's the winner there. I'm just gonna
I respect all Star Wars fans. And I'm a Star Wars fan myself, so
actually, to be honest with you, I'm a fan of both also. And to be honest with you, I saw Star Trek before I saw Star Wars because, you know, I mean, I started watching Star Trek in, you know, 1974, 75. You know, when it became on repeats, you know, and in syndication, and I didn't see Star Wars until Star Wars came out in 1977 in the theater. And so, you know, and I agree with you. The storylines of Star Trek are fabulous. I mean, they really are. My son and I are we watched all of the Star Trek, the original series, the Next Gen, DS9, Enterprise, and we're into almost to season 3 now of Voyager.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, and we're just moving our way through it. He loves Star Wars. He's a huge Star Wars fan, but you know, he loves Star Trek. Deep Space Nine is his favorite of them all, and you know, they both are really, really, really good. And you could tell that they influenced each other heavily, you know, and they were all influenced by previous stuff, you know, that was out. Really, really great stuff. So with that, I think we better wrap it up here.
Yeah, it's been a blast.
I do want to say thank you to everybody who is here. Wait a minute. Maybe I ought to get rid of the, hold on. How about there? How's that? All right.
Amazing.
I want to thank all of you for being here, and I want to thank everybody who's watching today. Don't forget, this Thursday, December 12th, I will be hosting Chris Kelly and Adrian Jensen from productioncrate.com. It will be at the same time that this one was, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. So thank you guys. I really appreciate it, and make it awesome.
Take care.
All right.